how does where the ulema or scholars studied and where they based in around the world affect their thoughts? So, for example, my limit was reading the Maliki scholars in Spain had more open-minded to like subjects like music and so forth because they were in
Spain,
Spain
musical culture.
Maliki scholars in Arabia, and that's the same for the Hanafi in the Ottomans compared to the Hanafi in the subcontinent.
Yeah.
And how does where the base affect, and then how does that become legislated?
Okay, so we're going to discuss that in week 5. Week 5 is about urf, local culture, which is an important principle of fiqh in the Hanafi and the Maliki madhab. According to Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, fiqh should be based on the culture you are living in, right? So this is why you will find, actually Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal also agree on this. They just didn't use a term for it. They didn't use the term for it, but they do have this in their madhabs. So for example, even today you see this. The Shafi madhab, Imam Ash-Shafi was of the opinion that for a woman to cover her face is compulsory. If you go to a Shafi country like Malaysia today, nobody covers their face. No one tells him to cover her face. Not a single Shafi alim said it's compulsory. Why? Because that fatwa doesn't make sense in their culture. It doesn't make sense in their culture at all. To tell the women of Malaysia to cover their faces would not make sense. They won't understand. What are you telling us to do? I mean, the men lower their gaze. Have you been to that culture? Do you see how men lower their gaze in their community? There's no need for how respectful they are for a woman. There's no need for that. Ash-Shafi lived in a different time and place. He lived in a place where every woman covered her face. For a woman to reveal her face was a problem. Right? So his fatwa was affected by the culture he lived in. The Shafis today are affected by the culture they live in. Right? It's the same across the globe. Now, there's two ways it affects them. One is like this, where they're actually using the usul. The other is where they take their culture as the religion. And that's when it becomes a problem. So for example, someone goes to Saudi Arabia or to India to study. And then they come back to South Africa and they try to make this place like Saudi Arabia or India. That's the problem. That's a major problem because now they're essentially trying to enforce a foreign culture upon their lands. Right? So we see this a lot with people who study in Saudi Arabia and then they go to the USA or the UK and they just try to Arabicize everybody. Right? It doesn't work. You have to adapt to the local culture. So this is a principle, we'll cover it in details in week 5. The maxim is al-adat muhakkama. Local culture is the deciding factor. Which means according to all four madhabs, when there is a clash of cultures and none of it is haram, that's the key point, none of it is haram, you go with the local culture. Right? Meaning, someone saying wear kurta, someone else is saying wear shirt and pants. So long as your shirt and pants are not violating the condition of the Sharia, which is covering from your navel to knees modestly, wear shirt and pants. It's local culture. Right? So this is where the principle comes in. We will spend an entire hour just discussing it, all the ins and outs of it, how it works, what's the restrictions, all of that, inshallah.
My follow-up question to that would be, so there's an opinion that because the Maliki madhab was based in the westernmost country at the time, Spain, and had interaction with Europeans, and due to the fact that Europe colonized a lot of the world, there's a movement back towards the Maliki madhab because it incorporates a lot of Western culture and makes it easier for people living in the West to
I've seen that happening in America, not here, but in America. It makes sense there. It makes sense for people in America to follow. But again, remember, fiqh is going to differ from place to place. So if someone's in America, I would actually tell them Maliki madhab may be better for you. But in South Africa, we have to face reality. Hanafi madhab is dominant here. But the Hanafi usul allow us to do the same thing. Because urf is part of the Hanafi usul of fiqh. Right? So we can use the Hanafi usul, still be Hanafi, and come up with those same fatwas. Right? Because it doesn't go against our usul of fiqh. So there's no need for us to change our madhab completely. Say, okay, you know what, the guys in this class will be the first Malikis of South Africa. Right? And let's relearn fiqh from beginning. Let's learn Maliki Salah, Maliki Wudu, Maliki everything. Let's stick with what we can go. And let's go forward this way that we use our usul to reform these issues. Right? Like you gave a very good example, the issue of music. Music in the Hanafi madhab. Did the Turkish Hanafis have a problem with it? No. Did the Indian Hanafis have a problem with it? No. Some yes, some no. Why? Their cultures. Right? In the Turkish culture, music is such a norm that even the Hanafi ulama had no problem with it. Right? Because culture affected the madhab in that way. And this is again, many people, they think the madhab is just what Abu Hanifa said. It's not. It's 1,000 years of scholarship. evolving in different parts of the world, affected by the local culture, affected by the local things. And so you can't just take it as if it's the word of Allah. It is the words of people. Right? So, yeah, we will talk about culture later, inshallah, another day. Any more questions? Yes, Professor?
Just maybe no time to discuss it. Just some comments. First of all, someone not we came, I think last year, from Nagwa. And he was there at Darul. And basically what I was saying that the Darul Nizami syllabus or curriculum must be put aside because there's too much of emphasis on ibadah and very little on muamalat.
Right.
What I was saying is that today's time, there should be greater emphasis on muamalat and less. So that's what I was talking about, right? The second one is, the al-Hadith. We know we have, okay, I won't mention the name, we have families in South Africa belong to al-Hadith. But they not simply disagree with the opinion, they actually swear, literally swear the imams.
Yeah, I met them as well.
Right?
Yeah,
okay, you know. And the third one is the Muslim personal law. You know, the bill that was drafted by Maulana Wajad Islam when he came to South Africa, the Shoaib Umar, is based on all formula. And a lot of it is based on Maliki because it's not practical today to actually implement Muslim personal law based only on one thing.
Okay.
So this is my point.
Yeah, so again, the 3 points, hope I remember all 3. First point I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the first point. Your first point was about?
The dance.
Curriculum. Oh, the curriculum, it's a good point, yeah. I'll forget that one. Okay, so he's saying that our curriculum locally focuses on acts of worship, Arabic word is ibadat, not on our worldly dealings, the muamalat, right? So in fiqh we have 2 categories. The ibadat, salah, zakah, fasting, hajj, jihad, this is called the ibadat, acts of worship. On the other side we have the muamalat, marriage, divorce, business, all of this. Now, our local curriculum, we teach people salah, zakah, hajj, all of that. How many of us actually learn the fiqh of business? Nobody. Not even our ulema learn the fiqh of business, you can say honestly. Many of our ulema don't know the fiqh of business.
And Imam Abu Hanifa was very strong on it.
Imam Hanifa was a businessman, he was a wealthy businessman, right? So, we have to adjust our curriculum accordingly. I believe this is I actually came up with a curriculum recently. I was developing my own, and I realized for high school, right? Primary school, my opinion is this. Primary school we teach ibadat. We teach them salah, zakah, all of that. High school, we teach them fiqh of marriage, fiqh of divorce, rights of the spouse, fiqh of business, fiqh of employers, fiqh of employees. Teach them all of that. So when they graduate high school, they know how to live life. Right? This is something we need to do. This has to change. So you're right about that. Right? The other point you mentioned, they're taking from the Maliki mazhab for certain laws because it's more convenient. Again, across the mazhab, the ulama can say, okay, on this issue, this mazhab is stronger, let's go with it. And we have seen that. Like we said, the issue of covering the face. Shafi mazhab very clear, women must cover their face. But today the Shafi ulama follow the Hanafi mazhab on that. What does the Hanafi mazhab say? Women don't have to cover their face. But they took that from the Hanafi mazhab because it's more suitable to our times. Right? So we can do it the opposite way as well. In fact, another thing people take from the Hanafi mazhab is Mufti Taqi Usmani's fatwa on Islamic banking. Right? That's based on Hanafi Usul al-Fiqh. But nowadays all the mazhab follow his fatwas. Even Maliki, Shafi, they all follow what Mufti Taqi Usmani says on that issue because it makes sense. What he says makes sense, and he is very strong in his opinions, and he gives proper dalail and all of that. So we can borrow across madhabs like that based on evidence and need, but only when the proper usul fit it, not based on desire. It mustn't be based on, I like this fatwa. It mustn't be like, fatwa that music is halal, I like it, so I'm going to follow it. Fatwa that don't have to dress in a certain way, I like it, so I'm going to. If you're following it based on what you like, you're not following the fatwa, you're following your nafs. Understand? It must be based on what makes sense according to the usul al-fiqh. That's what we have to go with. That when I use the usul al-fiqh, what conclusion do I come to? Right? So that's what we have to keep in mind, because many people nowadays, this is where the modernist camp comes in, they move towards what I like. Right? They will find a way to twist it to go towards what they like. And that's a problem. Right? Otherwise, in of itself, it's not a problem. In fact, we need cross madhab a discussion on every issue. And there are councils that do that in Saudi Arabia, in the UK, in USA. Ulama from all the different madhabs get together once a year, they discuss issues, they discuss from all the different perspectives, and at the end of the day, they all follow one united fatwa sometimes, if they end up agreeing, even if it comes from a different madhab. Right? So that does happen, just, I think we need it more over here. In other countries, it is happening.